Take raspberries or strawberries, any berry, some very rich chocolate, put it together. What do you have? Decadent Desserts. Today on Let's Cook. Hi, welcome to Decadent Desserts today on Let's Cook. Now, to make decadent desserts, we're going to make a very berry chocolate sponge cake. And then we're also going to make a very berry raspberry mousse. Now, the sponge cake is just going to be a base because we have an icing that's going in there. We have some berry syrup that we're going to make. So it's a delicious decadent dessert. The first thing we have to do, however, is make the sponge. Now, to make the sponge cake, what I have here is I have equal quantities here of sweetened butter, or sweet butter, not salted, and vegetable shortening. And all I'm going to do with these, making sure they're at room temperature, is just take these, put them on my mixer. I'm going to mix them for exactly 22 seconds, give or take a second. Good, because they were very nice and soft. Now, to this now, I am simply going to put this on a nice slow speed, and I'm going to add my brown sugar to this. So we're just going to take our brown sugar, put our brown sugar in here, and let that brown sugar cream here a little bit with the sugar. Once the brown sugar is creamed in there, I take and I add my regular sugar. So I'm using both brown and regular sugar in here, so I add my sugar in there, and we just kind of let them cream together. While they're creaming together, every once in a while we're going to come in and we're just going to scrape the sides of our bowl right here. Now, we really need to make this really nice and smooth, so I'm going to beat this for a second. Now, while I beat this for a second, not too high speed, just this medium speed, getting some air in there, really creaming that together. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you what we have to do with our cake pans here to make sure that the sponge doesn't stick to them. The first thing that I'm going to do is just with regular vegetable shortening, I'm going to brush the sides and the bottom of the pan. Now, the other thing we need to do is we're going to take a little bit of parchment paper, and we need to cut the parchment paper to fit the bottom of the circle. One way you can do it is you can take the parchment paper, put it here, trace it, then cut around that circle. The way I like to do it, and I find it a little bit easier here. Oh, good, I have my scissors over there. I thought I forgot my scissors. Is I take the paper, I go like this, I fold it in half. Then I come at the point here, I fold it in half again. Right here. Come again, I fold that. Now I go from my square here, where I make I believe this would be called an isosceles triangle, if that's correct. Two equal sides, one not equal. Okay. I'm looking over here at John. I was hoping John would tell me. John's like this, he doesn't know. Okay, but we just continue to fold it this way. Now, once we have it folded this way, what we do is we just find the middle of our pan. Just visualize. It doesn't have to be perfect. I go like this, I put that there, I just come here, and I just make a crease here, right here. So now I have a crease. I'll come over here, I'll get my scissors. Where my crease is, I just go like that, and I cut her along my crease. Now, I've already put shortening or butter in the bottom. I just come here. I now take my paper. I put that. It fits in the bottom here. We take a little bit more shortening here on the paper. This way my cake won't stick. Then I come over here. I do my sides. We then take a little bit of flour right here. Take that flour. We shake it this way. Then in a large bowl here, we just shake this and we get rid of our excess flour. This way we have our pan that we're going to make our cake in is nicely floured and nicely greased. So now that pan is good to go. So now you have a good idea on how to grease a pan. Coming over here now, we're going to look where this is very nicely creamed now. You see how very light the color is on this now? Very, very light color. So, going to take this now, beat this on a slow speed, and what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of egg here. I have 2 whole eggs and 2 yolks, and I also have the other 2 whites that I whipped separately and made a little meringue. This, I'm just going to add this gradually into my creamed sugar and butter. So we're just going to get that all in there, let that cream. Well, that just beats slowly now. I have to add my vanilla there too, so I'll put in my splash of vanilla. Great. I take my dry ingredients now. My dry ingredients, which I have right here, are, I'm going to take my flour. This is sifted flour here, cake flour, my salt, and my baking soda. We're just going to sift these together. So all you have to do, sift them together, make sure they're well sifted together. I now have sour cream over here. I hope you're following me because we're going back and forth here a little bit. I have my sour cream here that I'm just going to add to this now too. Put my sour cream in there. Because the sour cream, we need the sour cream to get the baking soda going. Just kind of cream that together. Now I'll take my chocolate. I have my melted chocolate that I now drizzle in here. So far, you know, if you want, I could actually go over the ingredients now that go into this sponge cake if you'd like, because it's really easy. Okay, so we're going to be using some melted chocolate. We have sifted cake flour that we're using, baking soda, a pinch of salt, brown sugar, regular white sugar, vanilla extract, sour cream, and milk. Now, you'll notice I haven't put any milk in this yet. I'm going to come over here now. See, look at the texture of this. Look at how rich this looks. Doesn't this look fabulous? Okay, now we're ready to really go. Here's what we're going to do. Here's where the fun part comes, where I'm going to take my base right now here for my sponge, clean this up here, put this over here, out of the way. Now, I'm going to take some of my sponge right here with my milk, all of my milk. I can use a whip. And all I'm going to do is kind of mix the flour with a little bit of my sponge and just mix that flour together. Now, my remaining, now my milk is incorporated here. Before that gluten in the flour can actually develop now, I'm going to take another third of my sponge, add this to it. Now I use a little folding motion here. See how nice that looks? Just a little folding motion, turning the bowl this way. Now, all my flour is incorporated. I have a little bit of egg white here. I'm going to now take my egg white that I whipped. This was egg white with half of my white sugar from the 2 egg yolks that I had. Then I take the rest of my sponge right here, add this to it. We do a little folding action. Now we just fold this together until we no longer see any white streaks, or the white streaks are very faint. Then we take our prepared pan right here. This will make 3 of these, by the way. And we put a third of this in a prepared pan, just till it comes up about an inch up the pan. We bake this in a 350-degree oven till a toothpick comes out clean. It's going to take anywhere from, actually about 15 to 18 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it comes out of this world. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm making the raspberry sauce to go in this delicious black satin raspberry cake that we're making. Don't go anywhere. It's Decadent Desserts Today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Decadent Desserts Today on Let's Cook. Now, we need to make a little bit of berry syrup. Berry syrup is very easy to make. I have a pan here, and I'm going to actually put the ingredients into this. I have, and I'm using, you can use fresh, but you can also use frozen. I have some frozen berries that I'm putting right here with the juice. To this now, I'm going to add my sugar to this, and I'm also going to add a little bit of raspberry liqueur. We can thicken this with a little bit of arrowroot too here. I have some water right here, and I just take the water and dissolve the arrowroot and actually thicken it. So let me just bring this up in temperature, and we're going to let this start to cook right here. This is good. Once this is cooked, and once we've thickened this, we strain it, and this is what it ends up looking like. See how nice and rich that looks? It's Doesn't that look out of this world? Oh. And the nice thing about this is it's not too sweet. Because remember before we made the sponge cakes, which I have right here now, it tastes really good. It's not too sweet. You get the essence of the berries. It's quintessentially so good. Now, the next thing I have is I have a little bit of chocolate here. Roughly, I'm going to show you the recipe, but the recipe is going to tell you you need about 20 ounces of chocolate here. Oh, semi-sweet. Out of this world. See, so we're going to add our chocolate to this. Then I'm just going to take this down and I'm going to add the other ingredients that go into this, which are, we're adding a little bit of evaporated milk and some whole butter. I use a whip for this. You can also use a food processor if you wanted to make it this way too. But all I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to take, and I'm going to start by adding just a little bit of cold butter to this, to the warm chocolate. The butter is going to allow it to take on air. So I add about, half of the butter here. Remember, the butter's got to melt there, and the butter's going to cool this chocolate down. So we're cooling this down to make our frosting here, and then I gradually drizzle in the evaporated milk. I'm going to put this on high speed now. Here's where we're creating an emulsification. We're taking our evaporated milk now, and we're just going to continue to add this to emulsify this in the blender. Again, a Cuisinart is going to, or a food processor is going to go faster. Do you see how nice and slow I'm going here? Where I'll just show you how slowly I'm drizzling this in. So I just slowly drizzle this in. Allow that to drizzle in. Try and do it a little neater than I can. I need to let this cool down a little bit. It's still a little too warm. I want this to be right around 80 degrees when I'm doing this, when I'm getting this to go in. So we'll just drizzle. Okay. I'm going to come over here just for a second because I need to show you one thing with our sponge cake. When we go to decorate our sponge cake, this was the top of the sponge cake right here. What you're going to do is you're going to come like this, and with your knife, you're going to come and you're going to remove this part of the sponge off of the cake. This is a part you get to eat. Then, take a cake circle that's a little smaller than the size of the cake. See how it's a little smaller here? Then what we do is we just take our cake, we turn it over. This way, we're going to have a very flat surface here to assemble our cake. So that part of the cake is ready. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to continue drizzling in my evaporated milk to make my icing. We're going to let our berries cook there so we can strain them and cool them off. And then we can assemble our cake. So I think we need to take a little break. And when we come back, we will continue with our Decadent Desserts today on Let's Cook. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Decadent Desserts. Now, we have our chocolate sponge cake made right here. Now, what I'm going to do with my knife is I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to cut this in threes. You could cut it in half. I would like to do it in threes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here. I'm coming about a third of the way down. And what I do with my knife is I don't try and cut through the whole thing and try and cut across. I get it started and then I work the knife this way until it comes through and I remove 1/3 there. Then I come over here and I do the same thing again, where I'm just cutting. Take your time. Make sure you start level. If you start level, it's really going to work. If you make a little boo-boo, don't worry about it because you just make that your middle layer. So then we take and we cut this one. So I have this one right here. Now, I'm going to take a cake circle that's just a little smaller than my original cake right here. And all I'm going to do with this is, well, I'll show you because it's a little fragile. I'm going to take it like this, start it here, then you can use another piece right here. You go this way. This is my first piece right here. Now, when I set this up onto the cake pedestal right here, I have a little bit of, we have our frosting here. I'm just going to take a little frosting, put a little swipe of frosting right there. What the frosting will do when I press it down, it's going to prevent this from moving once I start to ice it. Then I take a little bit of my syrup right here, and I'm just going to spread this syrup Not too much, just a very thin layer in here, just to moisten the cake. You notice how it's quickly absorbed by the sponge. Then we take a little bit of our icing right here, just a little bit, right here. That'll work. We spread the icing. Again, and we're just, if you can get one of these cake pedestals, it's really nice because you see how nice this spreads evenly. All right, and we take another layer right here in the middle, making sure that's well supported. A little bit more of our syrup that we made. Now, this same syrup that I'm using right now, you can also use to make the mousse that we're going to make in the last segment of the show. So I go like this, then I take my last piece, whoops, just a little bit, again, a little bit more icing here. We're just going to spread this. Now, you see what happens if you use too much of the syrup? How you have to wait for it to absorb before you can add the icing to this? And you also want the icing to be set up nicely at room temperature. Now, I take my last piece, which was the bottom of the cake. This goes right here. Now we'll take our icing right here. See this beautiful icing that we made? I'm going to come over here, take some of this. See, now I'm going to start right here, and all I'm going to do with the icing is I'm going to go like this and just kind of bring it to the edges. See how I bring it to the edge? Bring it to the edge, bring it to the edge. I don't, and when I bring it back, I bring it, hold it against the icing this way. So I can just bring it to the edge. This way I don't pick up any of the crumbs of the cake. Then on the sides, just start it here, start it right here, just start and just bring it around. Then you come like this, you bring it around again. Bring this back over, around more. And you're just keeping your way, working your way right around the cake this way. Then once you have it all done, you're able to do this, and you're able to ice the entire cake. Okay, I'm going to continue to ice the sides of the cake here. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how you can finish the cake with chocolate sprinkles and the raspberry mousse for Decadent Desserts today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Decadent Desserts today on Let's Cook. We only have about 3 minutes left, so the first thing I need to do with my chocolate cake here, I'm going to just come up underneath with my spatula, get under the cake there, pick this up, just a little bit right there. Then what we do is we simply take the chocolate curls that we have right here and we decorate the sides like this. See how easy that is? So we just go all the way around the cake, decorating the cake a little bit. And you can buy these chocolate curls almost anywhere, but then we just take it like this. And then you would finish the whole side that way. Next, I have a little bit of the icing, and you can actually pump rosettes on it in the middle of this, where you just come here, then you just take it and you just pipe it, and then you finish it with a nice rosette like that. See how nice that looks? Doesn't that look great? You just finish this with the little rosettes right here. And then if you wanted to, when you go to serve it with a few raspberries right in the middle here. I'm going to come back to this if I have a second to really finish this, because I only have about 2:15 left in show, and I really need to show you how you can make a very simple raspberry mousse. Where I have my whipped heavy cream here, so I have a little bit of whipped heavy cream here. Remember the raspberry syrup? I'm just going to take a little bit of this raspberry syrup here, and all we do is we just fold this together. Now, the other thing that we do is we fold this together and flavor our cream this way. And then we also take and we combine, we take the some of the raspberry syrup with the eggs themselves, and we beat the eggs with a little bit of sugar. Then we pour that very hot liquid. So that the liquid is so hot. This is what it looks like, where it's really, I don't have enough time to show you today, unfortunately. But you see how it really just really gets very, very syrupy. And this actually cooks those eggs in there. So if you saw the recipe graphic there, and you saw where I was adding eggs to this, I actually cooked the eggs by heating the sugar and then adding that hot sugar with the syrup to the egg yolks to really cook them. So, got that there. I'm just going to go. We only have about 1:05 left. I'm actually going to come over here, and I'm going to actually finish this one cake here where we did some delicious decadent berry chocolate desserts today on Let's Cook. Doesn't this look terrific? And again, there we are. And then again, we could just take Little raspberry right here on the middle of each rosette. And you know why you put a raspberry right there in the middle? Because when you made the rosette, if it didn't come out perfect, you're covering up your mistake. And what better to cover up a mistake than with a fresh raspberry? Thank you so much for watching Let's Cook today. You have a great day. And remember, desserts in moderation are good, but when they're decadent, they're better. Bye-bye for now. Thanks again for watching.